get our mountain movers recognized this month. So let's start with our our classified mountain mover, I believe.
Get all the paperwork together now.
I'm trying to get them all together. I've mixed them up earlier. So our classified mountain mover this month is Miss Patty Barnes. Is Patty with us?
Yes.
There she is. Patty is an MSD instructional assistant at Estill Springs. This is Patty's 19th year with the district. She's worked at South Urban, West Urban, and Estill Springs. Patty says the best thing about her job is sharing her love with the kids. She said that she loves them and they love her, and that's what matters. That's what matters. And Patty, we're so thankful for you, and as part of the Mountain Movers, you get your certificate, and Backstreet Grub is our sponsor, so you got a card from them, and also I would like to present you with the Medal of Excellence. If we get Andrea to get a picture for us, and we appreciate you very much.
She has her wonderful family here with her this evening too. I see Sarah
Yes,
and
she does.
Lucas and her husband. So.
And today's Lucas's
And
birthday.
you all have reason to be proud.
And today's Lucas's birthday.
Lucas.
Hey, don't share that medal with them. Okay, then let's go to our certified mountain mover, and that's Miss Jessica McQueen.
Mr. Taylor, I don't think she's here, is she? I think so. She wanted to be here, but there's something came up and she.
I guess I'm going back.
I
Okay, let me go ahead. I want to read it into the record. Miss McQueen, Jessica is the MSD Special Education Teacher at the Estill County High School. Jessica began her career at the high school in December of 2020. Jessica says that she loves to see when her students have worked hard and accomplished tasks and goals they have set for themselves. The best feeling is seeing how proud they are of their work. And it takes special people to work in those MSD special education classrooms. It really does. So we're very appreciative of Jessica. And no, I won't go to Backstreet Grub. I'll save it for her. We are also very pleased tonight to represent or to recognize our community mountain mover. And our community mountain mover for this month is God's Outreach Food Bank. And I think Mandy is here with us. And I'll ask Mandy to come up and I'll read from her information. God's Outreach Food Bank backpack program began in 2008 when an elementary school passed out from being going without food all weekend. Estill County children in need are confidentially identified by their teachers and other school staff to receive a backpack with easy-to-prepare, kid-friendly foods such as ravioli, soups, oatmeal, cheese crackers, cereal bars, cereal, popcorn, ramen, and other foods to make meals for the weekend. Currently, they serve 5 Estill County schools in the program and distribute over 650 backpacks a month.
Wow.
So it is a great
Yeah.
service to us, and Mandy, we are very appreciative of what y'all do. So here is a certificate, and I would like to present you all with a Medal of Excellence as well. And we appreciate God's outreach, and we have been blessed to be able to use ESSER funding to support this program. I know earlier this fall, they were really in a bind, and they were wondering, God's going to provide. And at that time, we were able to use ESSER funds to provide funding for the program, and it was God sent for you at the time. And we're glad to do it because this money goes to support our kids and our families in need. And Lord knows there's a lot of that right now in our community. So we're very appreciative of you. Thank you very much. And that's it for our mountain movers.
Congratulations to all the recipients of the Mountain Mover Award.
If y'all don't care, let me have the sheet that was in there. I'd like to keep those for the board record.
I gotta carry, my voice carries.
I got you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, Mr. Saylor, on our agenda, we have our West Irvin, Elementary School student presentations.
So, Ms. Arvin?
I would like for these wonderful students to just take the lead, and you'll see why in just a moment.
Alright, so I am Melissa Kelly, and I guess you could say sponsor, but it's not even really that, our fabulous news crew every day. I say I sponsor because they do all the work. I tell them that I am the adult in the room, and I am just there solely to supervise.
Got to for the live stream, sorry.
Have mercy. That was not part of the deal. I tell them that I am just there to supervise. I am there to make sure nobody gets hurt, to make sure that everything is getting done, but they are the workers. We actually have a student who also is a manager who happens to be on vacation this week, so he wasn't able to be here. He's at Disney instead. I mean, really, why would you go to Disney instead of coming to a board meeting? I mean, seriously. But anyway. But they take the lead on everything. So I am going to turn it over to them, like I do every day. They come in starting at 7:35 as soon as they walk in the door. I have students starting to show up in the mornings. They come, they work with me until about 8:10 or 8:15 each morning, and they put together the fabulous show that you are going to see. Jeremy, can you show that first and that way they kind of have a point of reference to talk from.
Good morning, West Irvin students and staff. Today's Thursday, April 20th. Today's weather is sunny with a high of 83 and a low of 50. Today's lunch will be having hot dog on bun, french fries, baked beans, orange, and milk. Tomorrow's lunch will be having pizza, baked tomatoes, dip, corn, fruit, and milk. Donut House is coming to West Irvin tomorrow. A small costs $3, a medium costs $5, and a large costs $7. Make sure you bring your money. On May 5th, West Irvin will have a spring fling. A ticket costs $4. In advance will be $5 at the door. Cheerleading tryouts are next week. If you will be in second through fifth grade next year and want to try out, make sure you attend open gyms. Open gym will be today and Monday after school until 4:30. Tryouts are Tuesday after school until 4:30. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have a good day. How do you think you're going to do it?
I am going to get good sleep, be very hydrated, and use the Morning, West Irvin students and staff. My name is Reed Macon, and I'll be coming to go for the day. What kind of breakfast do Cassie? Rice Krispies. Have a good day.
Hello, I'm Madeline Mitchell. Today I will tell you a test. Today's test is ask scrap. Just in case you have a problem that you can't solve in your head, use scrap paper so you don't mess up. Have a great day.
Now I'm going to turn it over to them. So Reed is going to tell you kind of about our scheduling that we do.
So in the morning we come in, like she said, and we start working, and basically we start recording our videos that we usually put on the news, and then the editing team, they airdrop it to the MacBooks, and we start putting them in, and then on Wednesdays we come in the afternoon while she doesn't have a class, and we finish up that show or whatever we need to do for the next day maybe, and basically that's what we do. And then when we usually do it all in one day, all in one morning, and that's usually what we do.
And they prepare a day in advance. So today they were preparing for tomorrow's show.
Yep.
Tomorrow they will prepare for Monday's show. William's going to tell you about editing.
So like you saw in that, we use a program called WeVideo. We take it from an airdrop to MacBook to key in, edit audio, and put it into the correct transformation.
Next one to tell you about video.
So when we video, we make sure the mics are connected to the receiver or plugged in. Then we either tell them they get a script of either the morning show or about testing tips like you saw or something else like that. Then we either tell them like 3, 2, 1 or something to that sorts. Then we record that. We airdrop it to the Macs, and then the editing team starts to edit it.
Macy, can you tell me a little bit about interviewing students?
Sure, why not? Okay, yeah. So when we interview students, we take a tripod and an iPad, and we put the iPad on the tripod. We make sure like the mics are working before we interview the students, and we place them like in a certain way before we interview them, and then we get someone to like record when we're interviewing.
Good job. And Kaysen actually is going to tell you about the music because that's his own music. He made it.
So I actually produce the music, as you heard in the video, and it's music I make at home. And we usually just airdrop it to a computer, and then they put it in for the videos. And at the end, as you heard, that was put in the editing. So, yeah.
So it's actually originals. No one else has that.
Yeah.
And then Addie is actually working on a very special project for us that's upcoming, and she's going to tell you a little bit about her project.
I'm doing a kindergarten day in a life, and we're for the new kindergarteners that have like never been to school, and so that they're adults, so they're safe. We're doing what they do in a day. So we're working on it, and we're doing a voiceover, and then we're gonna do step by step what they do in a day.
You all have any questions for them? All right, fabulous job, guys.
So I would just like to follow up a little bit on that. What these folks do really do make a difference in our school culture, in our climate. They keep our school family informed. And just for example, I know Ms. Barnes and I were at the same Relay for Life meeting yesterday, and we were talking about ways to get word out to the community. Folks will watch videos that these students put on there because they're amazing. So they're another project that Ms. Kelly didn't mention. I just came in yesterday and said, hey, we need some public videos to share about the Relay for Life, to make sure people know to come, why we're raising money, the importance of cancer prevention, and those kinds of things. So I'm excited to see what they do with that, because all I do is give them an idea and they run with it, and they're absolutely amazing. Ms. Eves has one other thing to share with you tonight. Ms. Burrows, excuse me.
No problem. Well, hello, my name is Kimberly Burrows. I am the music teacher over at West Irvin Elementary, and this is my first year, not only first year in Estill County, but my first year as a teacher. And I can say so far it has been a fantastic school year. I could not have picked a better school district. And this year I was reached out to by a choral director from Madison County who said that they are currently trying to get their EKU honor choir up and running, which is where several school district choir programs come together at the EKU Center for the Arts. They practice for an entire day, a set of pre-selected choral literature. They work with an actual professor of choir at EKU, like an actual real master of their craft. They spend the entire day from morning to night practicing, and then they put on a huge concert. And she said that they would love it if our choral program would come. And I said, well, currently we don't have a program yet, but I would be more than happy to create one. So I met with Miss Arvin. We agreed that this would be a really great music education opportunity for our students. So I went out and recruited several, and we sent 14 of those students over to the EKU Center for the Arts. We started rehearsing every week. We met about twice a week, once with me and once with the middle school choir director, so we could really collaborate on that. And then they went over to the EKU Center for the Arts. And when I say like they practice for a whole day, they practice from 9 in the morning to 7 o'clock at night when the concert actually happens. It is a huge ask of these kids because it is insanely hard work and it's all day long. But needless to say, they absolutely rose to the challenge. They exceeded my already high expectations. And I believe they represented their school and themselves insanely well. You're about to see one of the songs that they performed at EKU Honor Choir. It is called Be the Change. It's a beautiful song, and it features a little bit of Swahili, so that added an extra challenge, is that they had to learn words from a completely different language. But like I said, they really rose up to the challenge, and I could not be more proud of them. And I'm very excited to show them off.
For Miss Burrows and all that she did with that group of kids. If it weren't for the fact that they were all super active and we couldn't get enough of them here to bring that sound to life, they would have been here in person.
Right.
But we're thankful, and we're thankful for the opportunities that you all provide to our students. Thank you, Miss Burrows. I know Just as we finish up, I don't know if you need me to talk with this or not, Mr. Saylor did talk about that the board was a little maybe concerned that we weren't going to be doing enough. I don't know if that's the right word, only concerned in a good way, that maybe we wouldn't have enough for students to do. And Ms. Courtney and I, our FRC person, Ms. Barnes, put our heads together, and I wanted to share this with you. This is our latest project, and our kids seem very excited about it. These are just some things we're going to be doing this summer. And you have the information about the field trips, but Ms. Courtney and I also want to bring a book and some other learning that will go with the field trip. So it's not only about getting the kids out, keeping them active, helping them see different parts of Kentucky, but also, you know, sharing some literature, sharing some things that they might take home and practice. So I just thought you all might be interested in that to know. I know each school is going to be doing something different, but that's where we went to at West. Other things, super excited about data. I am hoping that you all are going to be super excited with us next fall when we get KSA scores back. Do you all have any questions about anything going on at West Irvin?
Just keep up all the good work.
Oh, thank you. Well, we appreciate the opportunity to share some of the great things these kids are doing.
These field trips look fun. I might like to do that.
I'm super excited about it.
Go on one too.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Good job.
See you, Miss Patty. See you.
Next on our agenda, Mr. Saylor, we have the George Washington Teacher Institute presentation.
Yeah, and I don't think Mr. Brock was able to be with us tonight, so, but Mr. Brock was chosen for this program. It's called the Mount Vernon Teaching Institute. If I'm not mistaken, Miss Charlotte O'Brien was fortunate enough to do this a few years ago, and it's a very prestigious program, and it's an honor to be selected. And he'll be doing that this summer. I mean, at his own on his own time, but you know, it's really a in-depth study of not only George Washington, but just different activities in and around Washington, D.C. So we're very excited that he's able to participate in that, and we'll be presenting him with a Medal of Excellence also for his selection into that program. So that's it.
Thank you. Congratulations. Next on our agenda, we have our facilities and construction updates. First on our list is our Estill Springs ESSER renovation and addition project.
Well, we've got Casey with us tonight, and Peter's here as well. And Casey, I guess, is here to give the update for Estill Springs. We had a construction meeting today, and things are going well, as you all can probably see from the road. So, Casey, lead on.
Oh, man, we're gonna use this. Well, I wasn't prepared for that. So, well, we're right on schedule. We're running into a couple of delays with soil conditions and that sort of thing, but we're in the process of fixing. I would say by the second week of May, we'll have the classroom, additions 100% complete. 18th or so, 19th. So by the 20th of May, the classroom additions will be complete. And then at that same time, everything, what I'm calling the west side of the park area is basically everything, across from my job trailer and that storage building stuff where the amphitheater is and the monument and stuff. They just finished up the monument. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to go take a look at it. It actually looks, I was surprised, really good. That salvaged stone that they were able to use, that salvaged limestone in the brick, I mean, it really turned out great. And so I think that's going to be a big anchor point and a big, big area for the community, hopefully, that they use it quite a bit. We put a little bit of electric down there, so you'll be able to have, you know, some music and stuff, you know, like bands and that sort of stuff down there. And I wish I could take credit for that. That was his idea, not mine. But you know, we're moving right along. So don't really have a lot of issues. I think we're really going to push a lot here as soon as school's out. You know, there's a lot of stuff that we're waiting to do as far as digging up the roads and getting the paving done and all of that stuff. But, you know, I mean, yeah, we'll be done by the middle of June, no problem. You know, I mean, we may be dealing with a little bitty thing here and there, but I mean, 99.9% of the project, I'd say by the 15th, 20th of June, we'll be 100% complete. So.
You guys will have to approve probably the BG4s in July and close it out. And hopefully, Angie and Jeremy and I will sit down this coming week. I don't think we're gonna start on Monday. It's a bad way to start a Monday since it is a Monday, but on Tuesday, we've got all the BG4s on these projects. We're gonna start closing them out. So we hope to bring you, we might not bring all of them, but we're gonna bring you a bunch of BG5s at the May board meeting to wipe them out and get them closed out. And I think today they talked about trying to get the blacktop and everything pretty much all wrapped up about like June 9th.
Yes.
So I really think unless something happens, we have a monsoon or something, we're gonna be done by the 15th.
Yeah.
With pretty much.
Yeah, with pretty much everything.
We're gonna do a lot of sod. Wanted y'all know that it called for a lot of seed, but because of that dedication on the 23rd, we've worked with a contractor to put down a lot of sod to try to get it firmed up a lot better and try to not be dealing with any type of muddy conditions if there happen to be rain on the 23rd. So.
And I think that's a good call too, because I'd say you're gonna get a lot of foot traffic right in there, and with all the slopes and swells and everything, just to be able to instantly have an established lawn is gonna be a big lifesaver, I think.
So we feel really good about that. I don't know if y'all noticed, we took a lot of the topsoil that was left over and it's went to the practice field behind the ATC. So Casey's gonna be working up there. He's been working to get the sprinklers back up. Matter of fact, Casey saved us a lot of money on their sprinkler systems and stuff, doing a lot of work himself and helping us. So I did want to say that. So he'll be doing that. So I feel really good. We're definitely on track to get this done. I think substantial completion is like June 5th. If everything just went perfect. So we're in great shape.
Sounds good.
No, that's it. I mean, I gotta get out of here too, cause they're trying to send me somewhere.
Him the 1st of July to go to another job site, so, we'll hate
He's
to
a
see him
wanted
go.
man.
Yes.
Wanted man.
At least somebody wants me.
I'm ready to get rid of it.
That's what I'm thinking.
There you go.
Really looks good. I didn't want to say that. I about ran up in the sheriff's old yard there the other day.
I know, when
broke
you're
my neck
looking
trying
and
to
you kinda
look.
go
Yeah.
around that
Yeah.
curve and
Yeah.
you just
Yeah.
keep going. Well, we appreciate you and your
Thank
hard
you,
work
Casey.
and your
Appreciate
team.
you. Thank you.
So you got a pay app.
So we have I need a motion for approval of pay app number 7 for $372,444.23. Ms. Sheila makes a motion and Brian Covey makes a second. Do we have any discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote. Okay. Next on our agenda, we have consideration for approval of change order 02-05, 02-06, 02-07, 03-01, 03-02, 11-01, 11-02, 12-01, 12-02, 12-02-01, and 12-03.
As you all, if you all remember, Kenny writes these by bid packet. So, this is getting us caught up. I think this gets us caught up to date pretty much.
Yeah, King likes to sit down and do a bulk of them because they're difficult to do. And so he does them kind of all at once. When
think he has to psych himself out.
I know he does. 'Cause there's a lot of stuff you've got, a lot of steps with KDE
You
you
know,
gotta
he's
do.
got to have on, you know, little jazz music, and it's gotta be really soft playing and all that. But this takes in, I believe, the work that Rising Sun did to get those site finished after Combs Trucking was pulled out. As you know, the Canopy bid at an excessive price during the bid time, so we came back, went with another design, and now that design's come back, and it's came back, you know, within budget in order to do that, so this is part of the Canopy work. It's also got to do with the sanitary line, which you all love to deal with. That is an issue with the grease trap. That school had a homemade grease trap that was installed whenever it was built, and it's not up to code. It never has been up to code. It's a mess, to say the least, and that was a pretty huge change order. But I can report, as of right now, knock on wood if nothing else happens, we're within budget. We don't have $10 left in the project, but we're within budget. We have spent the contingency, we have spent the furniture money. I went ahead and I allocated some ESSER funds so that we could buy some furniture for those classrooms, because we have, in all honesty, we probably don't have $50 left in that project. But everything is covered, and really right now, unless there's another issue with soil conditions as they start to put that road in for the parent loop, we're sorta home free. Okay?
So I need a
So we
motion.
need a motion to approve all those change orders, and that gets us up to date.
So do I need to go through each one of them, or can we
Just
approve them
one.
as one?
You can approve them as one, motion.
I don't know
Okay,
if you can say all them numbers again.
I know.
She did good, she did good
She
tongue
did
tie.
do good.
So, I need a motion to approve the change orders as discussed. Tammy Hardy makes a motion, do I have a second? Carrie Smallwood makes a second, do we have any discussion? With none, I'd like to call for a vote at this time, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
And while Casey's here, before he'll probably stick around with Peter, but just to go back to the high school, we have closed that project out. I think the only thing we're waiting on right now is a gate.
Yeah.
That's gotta be installed up at baseball, softball, in that storage area. The gate's here, they've just not installed it. And also, they are gonna hydroseed those bare areas across from the high school, and there's several areas that's got to be addressed, and Casey's finishing up all the sprinkler work. We've gotta get that soil spread on the practice field and get it grassed in, so we'll have grass come July for the start of fall practice, so, all that stuff's done, so I don't know if
No, yeah, that's, I'm gonna start working on moving the dirt tomorrow.
Okay. Do we need Casey anymore?
We really don't need him, he might wanna hold Peter's hand for a while, but.
I like holding Peter's hand.
He'll stick around with us. We'll put Peter on. We'll put Peter on the,
Alright, so that brings us to the Estill County High School Field House Restroom Renovation Project. Give us an update, Peter.
Update is we're here with it complete, right? So really good news there. I do think that Anthony Patrick, the contractor, is working with Mr. Willis on a couple of issues. My understanding is those were addressed, if not yesterday, today. So we are here today with the final pay application and the BG4 for this project. Be happy to answer any questions you have about it.
I met with Anthony today. We actually had lunch together, and he wanted me to let the board know that he's been very appreciative for the opportunity to work in our school district, and hopes that at some time in the future, he'll be able to do it again. He's been around for a long time now with some roof projects and different things that he's done for us. So he's a fantastic gentleman, and he's been a pleasure to work with. So he wanted me to pass that on to you all.
Okay. Next, I need approval, a motion to approve the final pay application number 4 for $11,229.20. Do I have a motion? Shayla Samples makes a motion. Do I have a second? Tammy Hardy makes a second. Do we have any discussion? With none, I'd like to call for a vote at this time. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote. Next on our agenda, we have consideration for approval of BG4.
And I just pulled that up for everybody to look at. When we, of course, when we started, we had to back up a little bit because we couldn't get the men's restroom done in time, if you remember. So we had to adjust the project, and then we figured out real quick, we weren't gonna be able to leave the men's restroom at the original size based on the new stadium and based on the larger crowds. So we came back and, completely redid the second half of the men's restroom. You can see the total construction for that project is $242,780. That was the total construction cost at the end, and we do have that budgeted within ESSER funds. And, we'll be working on that, as I said, this coming week. Peter, anything else?
No, that's all.
So I need a motion to approve BG4. Brian Covey makes a motion. Do I have a second? Tammy Hardy makes a second. Do we have any discussion? If none, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Done well.
Next on our agenda, we have the Estill County High School HVAC controls, which is BG number 22-177. We need an update.
So I'm here tonight with the final pay app and the BG4 for this particular project. It's my understanding Mr. Reese is comfortable with the system and how it's working and being able to reach out to the folks who installed it. Owner training happened a little over a month ago, and we have the O&M manuals available, so all of the closeout documents are in order. Be happy to answer any questions that you guys have about that one.
Anybody have any? Okay, if not, I need a motion to approve the pay application number 6 for $80,108.58. Is that right?
Yes.
So Sheila Samples makes a motion. Do I have a second? Brian Covey makes a second. Do we have any discussion at this time? If none, I'd like to call for a vote at this time. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Great.
Let's see, next on our agenda, we have, approval for the BG4.
And so everyone will know that the final construction cost for that project was $149,763. And of course, what that project did is it allows Mr. Reese to set the controls on that building. He is in full control of all heating and air conditioning in that building, which allows us to have energy savings that can be used for instructional programs into the future. That probably is about a 5 to 7 year payback in terms once we get about 5 or 7 years down the road, you've paid for that project, although it was paid for with ESSER funds already. So you're already saving money in the general fund with that project, but in terms of the money we spent, in 5 to 7 years, it's been money well spent. So, my recommendation, approve that BG4.
I need a motion to approve the BG4 as we discussed. Sheila Samples makes a motion. Tammy Hardy makes a second. Do we have any discussion at this time? If none, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote. Next on our agenda, we have the Estill County Safety and ADA upgrades, which is BG number 23-087. Give us an update, Peter.
Okay, so we heard from the contractor and the supplier this week. There's still a little bit of a material delay, and I think the going plan now is to tackle both schools as soon as the school year is over. And they'll be aggressive that late May and hopefully finish up the project before the end of June. I'm here tonight with a small pay app and a change order that is based on some last-minute hardware changes that were decided to need to be made at South Irvin. So I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have about that project.
And guys, really, I apologize for that when we really thought we would have that thing closed
Yeah.
in June, so it's probably looking at a BG4 sometime in July
Yeah.
for that project as well. It won't take them long, especially once the buildings are closed out, to.
I think it'll go
get
very
lots of
quickly.
things changed.
Yeah.
It'll take 2 or 3 weeks, but I just think it's too quick of a turnaround for them to get through by the June board meeting.
Right.
We'll see what happens, but there is a change order. It's an owner requested change order on some hardware
Mhm.
for $593,
93.
and it's our recommendation to approve that.
Okay, I need a motion for approval of change order number 3 for Jarbo Construction in the total amount of $593 even. Brian Covey makes a motion, Carrie Smallwood makes a second. Do we have any discussion? If none, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Next on our agenda, we have consideration for approval of pay application number 1 with DPO invoicing for the amount of $4,432.32.
And that's for some of the materials that have.
It is, yes.
That has been,
And just some of the administrative costs of getting a project underway.
and that's been reviewed by Ross Torrent, and it's a recommendation to go ahead and make that payment.
I need a motion for approval of pay application number 1 with DPO invoicing for the amount of $4,432.37 as discussed. Ms. Sheila Samples makes a motion. Do I have a second? Tammy Hardy makes a second. Do we have any discussion? If none, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote. Next, we have an update for our district facility planning.
And Peter may want to stick around just a minute,
Yep.
but it's my understanding that we have a draft district facility plan that's ready to be reviewed. I think right now by KDE, they're sort of reviewing it. Mr. Stephen Willis has led the charge on that. I know Ms. Isford has been the board representative on the facility plan. And, you know, guys, we've done $47 million worth of construction, about 6 or 7 years, but with your facility planning, those needs never stop. And I think there's over $50 million of unmet facility needs in our district. And I know that some of the big items, I know that as the board, we discussed during the reconfiguration, of course, is that Estill Springs, with them having a full-size gym, I think is one of the main items that has been discussed as part of that process. Also, there's been a lot of discussion around the middle school. And we did, as I told y'all earlier, we received a report back. You know, the middle school is safe. There's nothing that anyone needs to be worried about, but we do know there continues to be a lot of movement with floor slabs in that building. So there's going to be some options that need to be looked at in the future in terms of whether or not or how you all proceed with that building. And you've got Peter on board. He's not going anywhere. He'll be here to help lead that process. I really do think that this fall, you probably do need to authorize a study by a structural engineer on that building so that you can get an exact repair amount to repair those floors in that facility. And then based on what that structural engineer determines, could determine the future of that building. As it is right now, if nothing happens, that building is probably on slate to be replaced sometime in the mid-2030s. But we need to get that building looked at and see if there's some other options instead of just holding on to that. And I don't know, Ms. Isford was part of that and Peter's part of that. I don't know if there's anything else that they want to add, but that's just sort of an update, and you'll be seeing that again in May for a final draft.
Yeah, there's nothing more. There were 3 really good LPC meetings, a lot of great discussion. I think most of what people brought up ended up in the DFP one way or another, and it is on its way to KDE for their review, which usually takes 3 to 4 weeks. So we'll be finishing up the process once we get comments back from them.
We had great input from community members, from staff, from parents. It was a well-represented group on the facility planning committee, and they had a lot of great ideas. And we appreciate their time, appreciate them showing up and committing to that because it is some pretty lengthy meetings. But we appreciate that, and like we shared with you, hopefully with KDE approval, we'll have a final draft at our May meeting.
And I just would say one thing about these committees. We've had several committees working this spring. When you bring these committees together, you're bringing together representatives from across the entire district. And it's really important, if you're gonna have these committees, then you need to be able to listen to what their comments are and the things that they suggest in terms of, the school district, because they've been elected by groups of people to represent them. So I really appreciate the work of our committees. I know there's been two longstanding committees here over the last several months that's been working on two different issues. And I'm very appreciative for the work of those committees, and I know the board is as well. So that's sort of the update, but you do have to set a public hearing tonight in order for us to be able to meet the scheduling requirements, and I think that is item number 2.
So we need to set a date for a public hearing for the final draft in May of 2023. So we just need to set a time. I think that's it. Is that right?
Yeah, so essentially, typically you would do this after you approve the DFP, but there is a requirement for 2 weeks of advertisement before the final public hearing. And we anticipate having the board approve the DFP at their May meeting. There won't be 2 weeks before the 23rd of May, so we're having you do it this month.
And that way we can go ahead and get it advertised and make sure we meet the deadline. So
Correct.
at the May meeting, you will approve the final district facility plan, and then you have to have the public hearing.
Yes.
And the board has to be present at that public hearing, my understanding.
I don't,
Or do they not?
no, you have to have an officer.
You
Yeah.
just have to have a hearing officer.
Yes.
And we'll appoint a hearing officer, so, the board doesn't have to be present. So, that's fine. It's been a while since I've done one, so, my mistake. So, if you all can approve it, I think, if I saw, was it, I don't know if it was 5:30? I can't remember.
Oh, typically, yeah, those are typically at 5:30. Yes, that would be great.
5:30 is the.
And we'll make sure to get that in the advertisement.
On the 23rd.
May
I think that's a
23rd.
Tuesday night of May. The board meeting is on the 18th, I believe, on a Thursday night, and then the following Tuesday night will be the, public hearing. So if y'all are good with 5:30, then I guess Ms. Isford will entertain a motion.
Let me put this right here, 5:30. You know, you have to put it on your calendar right
Yes.
now when you're thinking of
Yes.
it. So you forget things.
That's right.
All right, so I need a motion to set the date for the public hearing for the final DFP draft. Sheila makes the motion. Do I have a second? Tammy Hardy makes a second. So all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate your time.
We appreciate
It's
you.
not gonna rain tomorrow, so be at work. No rain. Rain on Sunday.
I've been breathing dust.
Saturday and Sunday's raining, so
Thank you
Fair,
all.
thank Case.
that dust out there is that thick.
Y'all are
That
the
beats
best.
anything I've ever seen in my life. How that dirt, it was that thick today. I was walking through and it's like walking on the moon. I mean, that's how I had to come in and wash my pants off and my shoes and everything. It's a mess.
All right, so this brings us down to our action items.
Okay, a lot of this discussion was done at the board work session last week. So you all have seen these items, and so now I'm bringing them to you for your approval so we can go ahead and start setting our staffing and moving forward with some of those items. So the first one is the district staffing policy. Jeremy, if you can pull that one up real quick, just so they can see again what it looks like. I didn't bring you copies again, but if you remember, this has all of the district positions located on it, and you can just thumb through, Jeremy. The ones that are in purple, those are your ESSER paid positions, and all these are reflected, and there's plenty of detail. As the new superintendent comes in, they will have all these positions outlined for them. They'll know exactly who these people are, and of course, I hope to work with them to let them know how we sort of do our staffing policies. They may have some changes, they may do some things, but they may keep it exactly the way it is. But that is your, district staffing, policy, and it's my recommendation that you would approve it at this time.
Okay. I need a motion to approve the revisions to the district staffing policy as discussed. Tammy Hardy makes a motion, Sheila Samples makes a second. Do we have any discussion? If none, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote. Next, we have to review our ESSER funded positions, and it's a no action.
It's a no action item, and of course, this again was shared with you at the last meeting, and this, of course, is the positions that that have been paid out of ESSER funds for the last 3 years. And it's also got all the positions that will be paid out of ESSER for this coming year. And I did not attach the sheet, the second sheet of this, because there was actual names on it, and I didn't want to identify any positions by names at this time, although we have to do that. I believe in May or June, you get a total list of all employees. It's just not time to do that.
Just don't go down, Jeremy.
On those District 2, those have already been paid, so, I didn't worry about those at the bottom. Those were paid in the past years, so that money's already been spent, and those people have already been paid. So that was, from 21 and 22. So, thank you, Sheila. I'm glad you were looking at that, but that's one reason I didn't take those out. But that's just for your information. Nothing has changed on that list. We have finalized, we worked on ESSER again. We've been working on ESSER about every week now. We got our ESSER report in for our state reporting. Of course, they'll have to do that same ESSER report next year, which will be a lot more stuff. We just received $5.1 million in reimbursements through ESSER. So we had pretty much used our general fund, we'd used our contingency, we'd used our construction money, we used everything we had, waiting on KDE to sort of give us the outlines to go ahead and move forward. Now we're back. Our general fund right now, our overall bank account right now is close to $7 million cash on hand. So we're in great shape financially. Don't listen to any of these rumors out here that we're broke. We're not. We're in great shape considering all the work we've done. So that's just again for your information. So item C is the next one, Mrs.
Okay. Item C is to consider approval for SBDM allocation request and the school staffing update.
And usually this is the high school and middle school, because usually they do not generate enough staffing in order to be able to offer all the programs that they do. But of course, as you all know, the decrease in enrollment is now moving through our middle school. And so they did not have a request this year, but the high school does have a request, and you can look at that if Jeremy, if you'll hit that real quick and pull it up for them. I think it's like 3/10 of a teacher. So that means that's above their allocation and above district staffing. And that will give them their full staffing number. And then, of course, at the bottom of the page, the $9,000 request that allows our students to get dual credit classes at Moorhead. And those classes are in U.S. history and in biology. And they supply the teachers and the materials, and for $9,000, our kids can take those two classes. That's a no-brainer. You need to go ahead and approve that. That's above and beyond their allocation. So my recommendation is to approve their SBDM request.
I need a motion to approve the SBDM request as discussed. Sheila Samples makes a motion. Do I have a second? Carrie Smallwood makes a second. Do we have any discussion? If not, I'd like to call for a vote at this time. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries with 5-0 vote. Next, we have consideration for approval of ECHF staffing request.
Oh, that was it.
That was
It
it.
lists twice, yeah.
Sorry.
So that's good. We're going
I was
to
just reading as we go.
Good deal.
Sorry about that. Next, we have to review the FY24 certified staff position, and it's a no action item.
Yes, and the only thing I will point out on that, there was some confusion, and I thought there was an attachment with that one. I may not have got it out there. But there's no changes to that. There was some questions about our curriculum coaches and exactly who pays for those coaches and is it part of any school allocation. In the past, I've always shown those coaches as being assigned to Estill Springs and West Irvin, even though they're district-paid positions. And it was creating too much confusion in terms, okay, where are they supposed to be at? So I pulled them out of that listing to where they're no longer listed as at Springs or West, but they're just listed that we have 3 coaches. And what needs to happen in July, the superintendent needs to sit down with the principals and they need to say, this is what we need from our coaches, and then from there, they will assign their time. Those coaches are gonna spend most of their time probably at Springs, West, and the middle school. Doesn't mean they can't work at the high school, but most of their time is gonna be spent in those 3 schools. So it's just an updated item. I will get Rebecca to post that so you all can see it later. It is, okay, you've got it. So, I don't know, it may be under something else, but, that's no action item.
It's under certified teachers FY '24 final spreadsheet.
Next, we have an update on our SRO contract.
And the sheriff has agreed to pick up the SRO contract, and I think this may be the signed copy. I know that Rebecca was trying to get that signed copy back from them, so we will be working with the sheriff's department again this coming year. Hopefully our legislature will come to their senses and they will fund the SROs that they mandated. I still continue to not understand why you pass a law requiring schools to have something, but basically pass the bill on to the local taxpayers. And hopefully that won't happen again, because really and truthfully, we probably need to have a 3rd SRO. And if you follow the law, you should have 4 SROs. So we're 2 SROs short, meet the law, but the law, of course, says when funding becomes available. Well, funding will become available when they give us funding, okay? So, that's just an update for you. You do have SROs for the coming school year.
Okay. Next, we have consideration for approval of our Frisky FY '24 budget.
And this is something you pretty much do every year. Of course, the grant was last year. This is the middle part of the grant or the biennium of the grant. So, they're just going back and making sure the funding amount and how the money's divided among our youth service centers, because the money assigned to the schools does not always cover the salaries of individuals in those schools. We're under an alternate model, and Mr. Norton has worked to make sure that that has been worked out. And this is just for your approval. We need your approval on this contract.
Okay. I need a motion to approve the Frisky FY '24 budget. Sheila Samples makes a motion. Do I have a second? Tammy Hardy makes a second. Do we have any discussion? If not, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote. Next, we have consideration for approval of our out-of-state trips. I think we have 2 on here for the middle school, Mr. Saylor.
That's correct, and of course, for insurance to cover these students while they're traveling, you have to approve it. It's a second line of approval, so it's my recommendation to approve both of those trips.
Okay, I need a motion to approve the 2 out-of-state middle school field trips. As discussed, one is for a student council field trip, and one is for out-of-state trip for KEDC's Aspire Middle School. I need a motion from Tammy Hardy, I need a second from Sheila Samples. Do we have any discussion? If not, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote. Next, Mr. Saylor, we have consideration for approval of a contract with ED Med for Medicaid billing and services.
In the past, we've worked with KSBA. KSBA is getting out of the Medicaid business. And so when we started looking at other carriers, this is the one that most school districts in the state of Kentucky use. As a matter of fact, their percent of fees is less than what KSBA charged, so, and we really feel good about their programs. I think they're gonna be a little bit more easy, user-friendly for our staff to use.
It's called EZ.
Easy, that's right.
EZ,
So
ED.
it should be easier.
Yes, it's called EZ.
Is that an R? Easier. So hopefully that's gonna be, and listen, you are, I think we're ready to move. You're gonna see a big influx in terms of Medicaid reimbursements to our school districts, and we really need to. Just to pay for our nurses now is $250,000. That's what your nurses cost in this school district. And in the past, you only had 2 nurses. Now we've got 5 nurses, including Erica. In the past, you had 2 nurses, including Erica. So we're paying for 3 additional nurses, and it's a total cost, and that doesn't include Erica, of about $250,000. But I really believe you're gonna see a huge increase in Medicaid billing. Andrea's done a good job getting with that. Amanda had it, and Amanda started all the process and getting everything lined out, and we've had people on trial basis. We've had 1 nurse, we've had our speech paths. Amanda's worked with our FMD teachers and our aides and people that can bill for services to those students. We can bill for transportation for FMD students, transportation in terms of Medicaid students that need to go to doctors or whatever. There's a lot of funding avenues there, and you know, it's not like big amounts per visit, but because of the multiple visits that our nurses see those students, I think you're gonna see additional funding there that's gonna pay for your nurses in the future. So we feel good about this. My recommendation is to approve this, and that's coming from the committee that meets Angie and Andrea and Amanda and Erica. They've worked hard on this. That's their recommendation, and I make it as well.
I need a motion to approve the contract with EZ-ED Medical for Medicaid billing and services as discussed. I need a motion. Brian Covey makes a motion, Sheila Samples makes a second. Do we have any discussion? I would just like to say that we worked hard to build a nursing program for our students, and I feel the services they provide are invaluable. Healthy students are good learners, better learners, and Mr. Norton wants to keep them healthy and keep them in school. So I feel this service with our nurses is invaluable. So looking at avenues and ways that we can sustain that program, I think is imperative. And so you all know that nursing services and keeping kids healthy is near and dear to my heart. So I would like to call for a motion to approve this. And so I have a first and a second, so I'd like to call for a vote. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries with a 5-0 vote. All right, Mr. Saylor, we're on the wind down here.
Time to pick an auditor. Angie has worked to get MOAs, and I think we had 3 firms, and if you'll go to that, Jeremy, the attachment, you had 3 firms that actually submitted bids. It's for 3 years, and it's taken a little bit of time. There it is. It's taken a little bit of time. It's for the next 3 years, this FY23, FY24, and FY25. And you can see there's not a lot of difference between any of the 3 companies, but as Angie has checked references, she feels very comfortable with going with Shad Allen in Richmond for a total of $38,000 over the 3-year period. And that was her recommendation, to just go with the low bid. So that's my recommendation as well.
Okay, so I need a motion to approve a contract with Allen, Shad Allen in Richmond, Kentucky for our auditor services.
I'll make a motion for old Shad.
All right,
I'll second that.
I have a first and a second for Shad. Do we have any discussion?
Do we have 5?
All in favor?
We
Any
do.
opposed? We have a 5-0 vote.
5 for Shad.
All right, so next that brings us down to our consent items.
There's a bunch of these, but most of them are things that you see all the time. You got your minutes, you got your treasurer's report. We've got our second CATS offer, which you approved the first CATS offer, but I always bring you each and every one of those. You got the Gear Up grant continuation. You got the jobs for America's Graduates Kentucky, and that's a continuation grant. Your NTI days, that's what item F is. That allows you to take up to 10 NTI days for inclement weather. This year, we used 6 of those days, if I'm not mistaken. And we've got an agreement with Mindsci Psychological Services. They help us with testing whenever we fall a little bit behind based on caseloads. Of course, we've only have the one school psychologist now. And even though we've been trying to hire school psychologists, we've been unsuccessful so far. So that is on the table. It's time to renew our copier lease. And the copier lease, our copiers are 6 years old, if I'm not mistaken. We had them for 5 years and they were working so well, we just decided last year not to do it. And I said, I'm gonna let somebody else do it. Well, I forgot I had to do it in the spring, so I guess it's up to me to get this through. But this is on like a state MOA for 5 years. Jonathan Shaw has written a letter, which we have to send to KDE, that allows you as a board to enter into this 5-year contract. But it's by far, they're great service. They've given us great service in the past. I see no reason why not. Matter of fact, we not only didn't spend more money, it's pretty much the same cost for bigger and better copiers than we just had. So that's a win-win right there. So I'm gonna ask you to approve that lease. This is a contract, is a contract for an employee that works at KDE. That's an Estill County School employee. We've done that in the past. J is for our engineering program at the ATC. They supply a base salary. We pick up the extended days. EKU is K&L. They have started doing internship programs when they've got people that are working in counseling and speech language path, and you have to sign an MOA with them in terms of what we will provide. We have a John Deere reel mower, which is for Bermuda grass, and we don't have Bermuda grass anymore.
No, we do not.
We've got turf. So we're going to try to surplus that mower. We're not giving it away, I can tell you that right now. And then the last item is a diagnostic and intervention fund grant for Estill Springs. And this is for a reading program there, and they have filled out the paperwork for it. It's a $40,000 grant if they're able to get it, and it's early childhood reading is what that is. And so I'm asking y'all to approve those at one big motion.
Okay. I need a motion to approve the consent items as discussed. Sheila Samples makes a motion. Do I have a second? Tammy Hardy makes a second. Do we have any discussion or concern? Okay, with none, I'd like to call for a vote to approve these. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote. Next, that brings us down to the superintendent's report.
Jeremy, if you don't care on that one, click on D for me, and I just want to see if there was an yes, I thought I gave that to Rebecca to put in there. Listen, I've slept a few days since then, and you all have not slept. You all been having meetings for 5 and 6 hours at a time. I don't know why a couple of you haven't fallen asleep here tonight, but with that being said, you've got your personnel actions, you've got your enrollment update, and attendance has picked up a little bit here lately, and of course, we're getting towards testing time, and we normally see that. Guys, I'm telling you, our attendance beats the socks off of anybody around us, to be quite honest. Most school districts are sitting somewhere around 80 and 90%. This week, we've been at 93% most of the week. We're almost back to 91% for the year. They've done a fantastic job, and we always said we'd like to finish at 91. I think we're going to be able to do that. We'll see how it goes in the next few days.
Mr. Norton is to be commended.
He's done a good job, and Miss Isaacs would say he had a good mentor.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with her.
So she's also the ESSER guru on budgeting, Miss Isaacs is too. I think I drag her along with me.
I know, because I look while I go with Escher.
you know, misery deserves company, you know, and so I drag her along to those meetings as well, so. But the culture and climate assessment, this was Dr. Roger Cleveland's work, and, we really wanted to, and it bothers me sometimes that we've got to where we have in our state that we think public schools are trying to indoctrinate kids, and that's not what we're trying to do in no way. And it doesn't mean that there's schools and there's situations that need to be corrected, but we were always sort of fearful on moving forward with this work. But it's really important work, because as we look at our schools, we have as everybody knows, we have a poverty issue that we've had across eastern Kentucky for years. And I'm just gonna say, we are never gonna see the success we need to see out of our students if we don't start taking poverty serious and knowing what it is that we can do to help those students, because they don't understand. If you start talking about a trip to a museum, they have no freaking idea what a trip to a museum is. They've never been there. They don't even know some of them never even, believe it or not, we got kids never been out on the interstate before. I mean, so there's a lot of work to do around this area, and I want y'all to see that report. It has nothing to do with all these far left-wing issues. This is about just meeting the needs of our kids. And that's what we've always tried to do, meet the needs of our kids where they're at. So I wanted to share that report with you. I know that the schools and the principals and their schools are working hard to address this as part of their strategic plan that is still in this year. And then, of course, we know the Mushroom Festival's next week. The Rock and Mineral Show is here Friday. And, of course, all weekend long, be a lot of activities, big time for our community. And we're glad to be a partner with City of Irvin Mushroom Festival Committee, and we're glad to be a part of that. So that is my report.
We're offering best transportation services this year, right?
Just like we did last year, and it really, you had the bus shuttle at the high school where you can park. I think the buses start running at 10 o'clock, and then every 30 minutes there's a shuttle into town. And the shuttles operate here at the central office. So at 10 o'clock, they're here. 10:30, they leave here and go back out there. So, I mean, it's on a 30-minute flip-flop. And this year, it was so successful at the high school last year, they're going to also use West Irvin. So there'll be a shuttle at West Irvin starting at the same time. 10 o'clock, they'll pick up, they'll come here. 10:30, they'll bring people back to West Irvin. Of course, first couple rounds, there's nobody coming back. But it really worked well, and what it does is keeps a lot of the cars parked out of town, and it provides more space for everybody. And I do think it was a fantastic idea when they came up with it, and it's worked well. So hopefully we'll find 2 drivers that's willing to do that. We've had a little bit of hard time getting our drivers, but I think we'll find somebody that will be willing.
Okay.
I don't know if there's anything else for me, but that's it for my report.
Okay. Next, we have our board member forum. Do we have anything to report as a board? We have lots of spring sports that are going on.
Oh, I did see that Bella Rice had like a 1 point something ERA. Yeah, and she's just an 8th grader, so that's really good.
Yeah.
Got a big future ahead of her.
Yes. So, I guess Miss Arvin's here, and Miss Mullins is here, and Miss Napier's here. I guess your students are starting to get a little spring fever. They're ready to, but your teachers are not, right?
Oh, big thing, testing starts next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Starting next Thursday, testing can begin. Schools are on different schedules. Some of them start next week, some of them wait until the first full week of May, but testing is, it's that time of year. Hay's in the barn. It's time now to celebrate by taking the test and letting everybody know what hard work we've accomplished throughout the school year.
Well, we sure do appreciate all of our principals and staff and all the hard work that they put in. And I know sometimes we don't say thank you enough, but thank you, and we really appreciate everyone and all your efforts. And it
Good
does
luck.
not go unnoticed, so
And good luck to everyone.
thank you all. Good luck
Miss
to our
Tony
students.
Garrett's back
Tony
there,
Garrett.
too.
Oh, yeah, I
That's
didn't
right.
see her, I'm
Yeah, she-
sorry.
She's,
I didn't see you, you were so,
now, I'm gonna tell you, if you remember when Dr. Stephen Pruitt was here, if you
She's so
remember when
little.
Dr. Stephen Pruitt was here, one of the things he said, somebody said they were just a bus driver, and he said, you're not just a bus driver, you're an educator, so you're not just a preschool.
I didn't honestly see you
are
back
a
there.
school. And let me let y'all know, Mr. Yost was on his way, and guess what? His radiator blew up. So he was bringing his boys, as a matter of fact, and he was going home to get them because there was something going on at EKU. And the last time I talked to him, he was getting in a tow truck to get his car pulled.
He told me.
So he wasn't able to make it. So, and I'm assuming Mr. Moore, he's thrown us over for a ball game tonight. So he's as AD. So.
Justin. Oh, Austin.
Miss Arvin has her teacher voice. Miss Garrett is really, really quiet, so I didn't hear or see you back there.
He always did that way, even when you all come to the coast.
All right, so do we have any public comments, Mr. Simpson?
No, ma'am, it's my fault, I failed to post the.
Glad he did
Mr.
just
Secretary,
turn
it's
and
probably
hurt.
chastised.
And they'll say it was intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did that during COVID because the meetings were not open at that time because of COVID and everything that was going on based on the rules that was being followed at that time under the emergency proclamation. You know, we pretty much video all of our board meetings, so everybody has an opportunity to watch. Everybody has an opportunity to be here, so we can continue, you guys need to discuss that, I guess, as you move forward. We can continue doing that. We'll put it out there. And if anybody does have questions, if they're watching, we can do it. We didn't get it out there tonight. And so, you know, we will be videoing the special call meeting tomorrow evening as well for the public.
Okay. All right, if nothing further, I'd like to call for a motion to adjourn. I have a first from Sheila Samples, a second from Tammy Hardy. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion, the meeting is adjourned.